we've had situations that where people go to bed in the evening feeling fine, no problem, and in the morning they don't get up. You see the body lying in bed, and they didn't kick around, they didn't kick the sheets off their bodies. So why would somebody, what happens that somebody dies that way? And it could happen to anybody.
Yeah. Well, in some cases you can predict if somebody has known risk factors for sudden death that are not addressed. Well, then it's like a time bomb, and one of these days it's going to happen, and it may not even be at night. They could be out exercising, having dinner, just having a good time with their loved ones, and they collapse and it's over. So the most common event preceding an individual's demise is cardiac arrest. I mean, there are many other things that can happen. And so somebody can die suddenly at night because either the heart goes into a bad rhythm. And we see this actually on the football sports fields, where an athlete and young folks collapses, and if they're lucky, they get resuscitated. I believe it happened, it was really dramatic sometime earlier this year. I believe it was in Cincinnati, and the gentleman survived. The heart goes into an arrhythmia, a bad rhythm. A normal heart functions in an organized manner. I mean, really timed, beautiful. But if the messages become disorganized, the heart contraction becomes totally disorganized, and its contraction becomes ineffective. So not enough blood is going up to the brain. What happens? The computer, the brain, just shuts down and they collapse. And if the heart continues that way, what will happen is that your organs in your body begin to shut down, and the heart eventually stops, because the heart needs everything. It needs the neurological system. It needs the respiratory system to supply its oxygen. So if it's not working fine because its electrical system is gone haywire, those other systems can't support it, and eventually the heart just stops. It can stop too from a heart attack, which is extremely important. Some of you listening to me out there have coronary disease and you don't know it, and that's unfortunate. Now, I wish there was something that somebody can actually look directly in your eyes and say you've got coronary disease. It's fairly common. Now, you may go to bed and not wake up, and if one of those tiny coronary arteries I was talking about, and I'm talking about these things about 2 millimeters, if that, a millimeter even, if they shut down and they get clogged up with cholesterol and stuff, you develop a heart attack. Some people don't survive. 10% of people actually die instantly, and you may not wake up if you have that. Another thing is the big arteries that are connected to the heart, like the aorta. There's famous African leaders who have, just in recent years, have died when one of those arteries has ruptured. And happens even right here in America, in Europe, and a lot of these highly industrialized nations. So I'm talking about things like aortic dissection, where you can have a rip and a tear in an aorta. And guess what? One of the big risk factors, major risk factors for something like that is high blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure and you're young, usually young males in the 30s, 40s, 50s, all of a sudden that pressure can cause a tear in your aorta and it ruptures, and you drown in your own blood, and that's instant. Now, I've operated on a lot of those patients, and many of them who I'm still in touch with. They're just lucky to be in a place that's near a facility that has the resources. Or you can rupture from another big artery in your abdomen called the aorta, the abdominal aorta. Just a continuation of the aorta in the chest. And that's the aortic aneurysm you hear about. If it ruptures, and if you're not lucky, you drown in your own blood and you die.